The new Superman movie is now out and I just watched it. I ain't gonna lie, James Gunn really cooked with this one. Don't you know how bad it was being a DC fan? When it was the Snyderverse era of movies, dude, you'd be bullied for comparing those movies to the MCU. Like, you wouldn't mess with guys like Iron Man or Captain America, because at that time, the MCU was untouchable and DC was just a laughing stock when it came to their cinematic universe.
Leave me alone!
Now it's 2025, and I can confidently call myself a DC fan.
Finally!
First, I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, and that is our big blue boy scout, the man of steel himself, Superman. David Cornswet has everything. He has the perfect eyes, the perfect teeth, the perfect hair, the perfect height, the perfect look, the perfect suit, the perfect build, the perfect...
Dick Rider!
Anyways, after watching this movie, I'm fully convinced that this guy is Superman. I love this portrayal so much. He reminds me of Christopher Reeves, not at that level, but he is quite similar. I love that he's funny, he's quirky, he's dorky when he's Clark Kent. He makes camping one-liners like, "Oh my gosh guys, I didn't realize that I can be a jerk sometimes." That is Superman.
Good gosh.
Now, people are going to be very furious with this. Now, don't get me wrong, Superman doesn't make jokes 24/7 like a Deadpool or Spider-Man or any of those kind of characters. He can make jokes once in a while. He has done this in the comics before, even in animation.
Where's the Flash when you need him?
Do me a favor and lose the sense of humor.
Do us both a favor and buy one.
See, I've lived in Metropolis most of my life, and I can't figure out how some yokel from Smallville is suddenly getting every hot story in town.
Well, Lois, the truth is I'm actually Superman in disguise, and I only pretend to be a journalist in order to hear about disasters as they happen and then squeeze you out of the byline.
You're a sick man, Kent.
You asked.
Oh, okay, goddamn.
I know we are still used to the Henry Cavill version of Superman, who is very stoic, gritty, and grounded in reality, because that isn't Superman. Like, you can ask a Superman fan who reads DC Comics or watches any other medium. They can tell you about his optimistic traits, like hoping for a better tomorrow for everyone else, and embodying the best of humanity even though he's an alien. I also love the fact that this guy has a strong moral code of ethics, not only saving people, but also saving animals like dogs, rodents, and even this giant kaiju. Superman would have killed it on the fly, but he didn't. He was going to knock it out and fly it to the Kryptonian Zoo in the Fortress of Solitude so that he can find out where it came from before Mr. Terrific destroyed it by blowing up its stomach from the inside. Superman even sheds tears when he sees a normal civilian get killed. His actions represent kindness in a world where kindness is seen as old-fashioned, since he represents as the beacon of hope sent by his parents from the planet Krypton, even inspiring the other heroes in the third act. I'm kind of surprised that they limited his Clark persona, especially when he's interacting with the Daily Bugle cast, including Jimmy Olsen, Perry White, Steve Longbar, and Cat Grant, which is kind of disappointing. However, with that being said, he's still able to show his human-like traits, whether it be Clark Kent or Superman. Lois Lane in this movie is phenomenal. David Cornswet and Rachel Brosnahan do have a lot of chemistry with each other.
I think I ripped my jacket.
I shaved my legs in the car this morning.
It's impressive and dangerous.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
They act like a real couple. It's been said in the film that they've been dating for 3 months. Like, Clark even cooks for her at breakfast and dinner to celebrate their relationship. She also knows that he's Superman, and she interviews him about a foreign conflict he stopped. I wish I could see more of them on screen, like the difficulty of dating a superhero, solving a mystery, and amongst other things. She also has a good attention to detail. For example, she finds out Lex Luthor's secret plans in the third act after Jimmy sends her evidence, and she's very professional in her job as a journalist, as she won't be satisfied until she gets the truth out of anyone, including Superman. Plus, she looks very ideal identical to her comic book counterpart. Rachel Brosnahan is amazing in her role, and I would love to see more of her and David Cornswet together in the next Superman movie or any other DC project. Next up is the Daily Planet cast, and these guys don't do anything. I'm being serious. These guys are just background NPCs with little dialogue. Members include Perry White, Cat Grant, Steve Longbard, and this guy. So, what do they do in this movie besides doing nothing? Cat Grant only talks to Lois. She talks to Clark a little bit, but she's just there. Except she has a nice rack. I knew what James Gunn was doing. They aren't even hiding it. Steve Longbard tries to bully Clark, but it's so forgettable that you don't even realize that he's around. And Perry White is kind of disappointing. I expected a short-tempered boss who is more gruffy, stubborn, and demanding, and hates being called chief, but we didn't get much of that. And then there's this guy. I don't know much about him. However, I do commend James Gunn for at least making them look like their characters. It's not like the MCU, who are under a company worth billions and don't put the effort when casting actors for certain roles, especially supporting ones. They just give them the name, they don't look, they don't act like the original, but they're simply just there to be comedic props for Karen's amusement. But despite my problems with the Daily Bugle cast, I do commend James Gunn for at least making them look like their comic book counterparts. However, the former is still far more superior than the latter. Oh, remember Jimmy, Superman's best friend, who only interacts with him in the first act, and the movie forgets that they are best friends and moves on with the plot. Meet Eve Tessmacher, Lex Luthor's current girlfriend, after his previous girlfriend was nowhere to be found. Turns out that these two have been secretly dating. Wait, were they dating?
Data not found.
Anywho, Jimmy asks for her help on finding Superman. Then she makes horny faces while staring at Jimmy and seductively touching his chest. She gets angry at Jimmy for not seeing her more often and using that to get to Lex. Jimmy promises her that they'll officially be a couple after stopping Lex. So she tells him where Superman is being held, but when Lex finds out, she also gets sent to the pocket dimension with Lex Luthor's previous girlfriends. And she's freed and ends up with Jimmy. Wow, this guy got riz. Next up is the Justice Gang, consisting of Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl. And these guys are specifically here in this movie as plot devices to help set up the larger DCU. Now, not all of them were treated as plot devices, but I would say the one who was mostly useful was Mr. Terrific, who was the real MVP and has one of the best fight scenes in this movie. Mr. Terrific is one of the smartest heroes in DC, and is marked as the third smartest person in DC. However, there are some claims that say that he's even smarter, and is someone who doesn't draw too much attention to himself when it comes to his intelligence.
You surprised me, Mr. Terrific. I didn't expect you to be victorious. After all, you're only the third on the smartest person list.
Well, I prefer not to draw too much attention to myself. Who do you think wrote that list?
He's able to create advanced weaponry and gadgets, such as his T-spears he uses for fighting. Even though he's a superhero without powers, in a world filled with metahumans, gods, monsters, and fantastical figures, he's a very skilled martial artist and very athletic. He's not someone who is immune to emotion and gets easily annoyed by meaningless conversations, or something pointless that will waste his time. Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner surprised me. He's egotistic, an immature man-child, and an asshole, which does have comic precedence dating back to his appearance in Justice League International. He's the one who names the team the Justice Gang. This is supposed to sound stupid coming from Guy Gardner. They even did his stupid-ass haircut from the comics, which I really like. In the comics, he doesn't work really well with other heroes, and he loves to prove himself as the better hero and better Green Lantern due to his egotistic ways. This is the same egotism that got his ass handed to by Batman, which I would love to see in live action.
Just sneeze without my permission. You're going to regret it.
That I'd like to One punch! One punch!
However, he is a guy who does take his job seriously when the time comes, so brownie points for that. Plus, I like his Green Lantern constructs, the Loki peak. Another Justice Gang member is Hawkgirl, and she is, complicated, to say the least. This character has one of the most complex and confusing stories in DC. Now, don't get confused with the one who's from the animated series, because that one is Sharia Hall. This one is Kendra Saunders. She is Cuban Latina descent, while Sharia Hall is portrayed as white with ginger hair. I would spend a lot of time and talk about her backstory from the comics, but that would be too time consuming. However, in this movie, she doesn't do much but fight and make war cries, so brings in a new perspective when it comes to the no-kill rule. She has no problem killing a bad guy on the spot. And finally, we have Metamorpho. Metamorpho doesn't join the team until the end of the film. He gets captured by Lex and is forced to subdue Superman with kryptonite that he made using his powers. And I like how he was able to showcase his powers, like for example making kryptonite, creating acid that takes down one of Lex Luthor's raptors, and also forming something like a sun using chemicals from his body. Metamorpho is one of the biggest powerhouses in DC, and his powers can be used in many fun and exciting ways. And to finish it all off, we had to talk about the big bad in the room, Lex Luthor. This man has to be one of the biggest haters in comics. He's really giving Reverse Flash a run for his money.
It was me, Barry. I jerked you off at super speed so it'd seem like you nutted at just a woman's time.
He's evil, ruthless, and controlling. This man is a villain you'd love to hate, and he dominates Superman every time in this film. If there was any time for James Gunn to start out the DCU with one of its most iconic villains, it would be in a Superman movie, and that's Lex Luthor. This man is so evil that he killed a random guy that helped out Superman in the beginning of the movie. He was able to scan the guy's face, find him, imprison him, put him in the pocket dimension, tie him on a chair, and play Russian roulette with his life, and then shoots him on the head in front of Superman. Nicholas Hoult plays him really well, and this is the first time we've ever seen a version of Lex Luthor use his intelligence to his full potential. He created a kaiju that grew overnight. He also made Ultraman. He has also been studying Superman for quite some time. He literally created a pocket universe that contains other metahumans, his Reddit monkeys, politicians, other people who opposed him, and also his ex-girlfriends. Okay. He crashed out when he found out that Superman escaped his pocket universe. And he literally cried when people took Superman's side. Even though he's a genius and a mastermind, he's also a psychopath. He had no problem letting the citizens of Metropolis die for choosing Superman. Lex hates Superman.
They chose him. Let them die.
This dude is so petty and he has brainwashed Reddit monkeys creating discourse and bot accounts for the sole purpose of trashing Superman online. And if that's not pettiness, I don't know what is.
Boy, if you don't get...
He also creates the Engineer by injecting nanites into her bloodstream that give her the ability to form any weapon, and also the Raptor suits, which are teasing his iconic mech suit uses to fight Superman in the comics. And James Gunn really cooked with this one, and I can't wait to see him in a sequel or another project. Plot and story is mostly focused on a foreign war between two countries, both Barovia and this one I can't pronounce. And in the beginning of the film, Superman stops this war, but gets jobbed out by the Hammer of Barovia. Lex Luthor finds this as a perfect opportunity to take down Superman and convince the government that he's breaking the law. When that plan fails, so he breaks in the Fortress of Solitude, finds Superman's message from his biological parents. The Engineer hacks said message, finding out that Superman was sent to conquer the Earth, exposing it to the public, and they embrace the super shit. However, his plans fail. Lois and Jimmy help in exposing Lex, since he not only wants to destroy Superman, but also take over the other foreign country if Barovia won the war, so that he can become king. Superman defeats Ultraman and the Engineer in a heavy CGI fight scene. The Justice Gang start the Baravian conflict, Lex is imprisoned, and everyone lives happy ever after. The end. Oh, wait. I forgot to talk about Crypto. And I hate him.
Stupid dog!
Now, this is the first time I'm saying this. I am not a fan of someone's take on an original character who is very different. But this dog pushes the limits to being very annoying. Yeah, we get it. He's a bad dog. What more do you want to show us?
Stupid dog!
And spoiler alert, turns out that Crypto isn't even his dog. And it's a foster situation. Sometimes James Gunn's comedy can be overplayed out, especially when it comes to crypto. The dog should have changed by now after Superman's scare. What a stupid dog. Stupid dog! Supergirl is also here. She makes a glorified cameo. She's all drunk, picks up crypto, and calls Superman a bitch, then sets off like any other young adult these days.
We did it! You know the saying, every parent's nightmare? Get out of the fast lane! Welcome to the Nightmare in Overdrive.
Oh boy, this is going to be a doozy. This movie did surprise me. My only problem is that it was too congested with its fully blown cast of characters. Some of them didn't do much. Others were used as plot devices to set up the larger universe, while some were used effectively. But despite all of that, it is a good movie, even though it's not a regular Superman movie. I'm going to give it an 8.1 out of 10 for being a decent adaptation, cool visuals, fantastical world building, a decent story, and so on and so forth. Do I recommend this movie? Yes, you should go watch it while there's still time. Anyways, with that being said, I am tired and I want to go to bed. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I like to hear your thoughts on this movie. Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Was it meh? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the comments. And please, please hit that subscribe button because I am dying without subscribers and I feel like I'm on life support because life stinks. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a blessed day. Anyways, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.